Boilermakers win 4 consecutive Big Ten series. We'll try for number 5 this weekend, traveling up to Northwestern. I'm Kyle Charters, along with the SID, Ben Turner, and the head baseball coach, Greg Goff, on This Week in Purdue Baseball. 4 in a row. It's the first time that's been done since the league championship year in 2012, Coach. But a solid effort this last weekend against against Illinois. Just outstanding play, particularly on Friday, and to be able to come back like you did on Sunday really shows that your team has the ability to win in some different ways, and it showed that this weekend.
It did. Kyle, I thought Friday was one of our most complete games. Yeah. It started with CVA, throwing a no-hitter through, I think, 5 or 6 innings, and then I thought we played outstanding defense behind him and really beat a really good arm. I mean, he was really good, and I thought our hitters did a great job and used the middle of the field and got some big hits when some guys were in scoring position. So great start to the weekend, and then finishing up on Sunday to win the series was really, really big in a lot of ways.
Yeah, you start out the weekend with 8 consecutive zeros. You end it with 8 consecutive zeros.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good way to bookend a weekend, I think. You mentioned Cole Van Assen start the no-hitter through 6 innings. You mentioned before the game that he'd been a little bit ill headed into the week. You could see him tiring a little bit, gave up the hit then to start the 7th. He was fantastic to start the weekend. But your bullpen then to end the weekend was really good. Thomas Howard, who we'll talk to on the show today, Jarvis Evans, Jake Kramer, they finish up that game without allowing a run. You guys scored 10 unanswered runs to get the series win. They were magic out there. It was really cool to watch.
It was, and so, we are, a staff of many, and we need a number of guys a bit of step up. Yeah. Our starters are probably averaging, 5 to 6 innings, something like that when we win. And after that, we got to turn it over to the bullpen. And Thomas Howard's been a big key to that. He can bridge us to Kramer. In conference play, man, Jake Kramer's been outstanding. And so, our whole goal is just, if we can just have a lead late in the game, we got a chance to hold on to that thing with those guys in the bullpen.
Yeah. There's your Friday starter, and then there's your relief ace. And,
yes.
Man, Thomas Howard has really taken that role. The 4 straight series wins in Big Ten play. He's pitched in 2 games of all 4 of those weekends and done it 5 times total going back to the first weekend of the season. And, man, he threw 100 pitches over his 2 outings, 6 innings of 1-run ball against Illinois. And, that helps you win games. That's that huge bridge to get those big outs in the 6th, 7th, and 8th inning.
It is, Ben, and I can't say enough. Man, he wants the baseball. He makes our team better. Our team, I think, energizes with him just because of his toughness and competitive spirit he has on the mound. He makes you beat him. He makes you beat him. He comes right in there at you. He's challenging you. And as long as we play good defense behind him, we have a chance. And he's been a huge, huge plus for us. And, the ability to throw 2 times in a weekend has been huge for us. Yeah. Huge.
Brandon Rogers' catch on Friday, wow. Every time we think we've seen it all from him, the fearlessness yet again.
Yeah.
Maybe his most impressive act of fearlessness yet to take away that likely 2-run double.
Yeah.
Their cleanup hitters coming up next. That could be a huge swing point in that game.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he breaks his hand while colliding into the wall. But, man, he sacrificed himself for Purdue. And, it felt cool to see the outpouring of the fans' appreciation of it once they knew he was going to be okay. And I was curious, what it looked like from your point of view in the dugout, and then what maybe was said a little bit out there on the warning track when, people convened out there to make sure he was okay, because there was a large group of you guys, Kayla, John Madia, C.J. Richmond runs all the way from first base.
Right.
Just love to see how important that was to everybody on the field.
Well, from my perspective, when I saw the ball go up, I just saw Brandon just he just locked in. It was like, it's like a fighter pilot. He locked in on that baseball. And I told them, I said, he's going to catch the ball, and as long as he didn't run out of space. And so, he locked in, went a long way from that baseball. And again, just played fearless, makes a diving catch. And that's the game. Let's get real. That's the game. All the momentum are there. Whole dugout was changed. And for him to sacrifice his body like he does is just unbelievable. I've never had a guy like that. I'll be honest, I've been doing this 33 years. I've never had a guy play that fearless of baseball, and he's not afraid, and he's made some super catches for us. But you can see what he means to our team. Guys running out there. It was hard. He was hurt. He was hurt, man. He was hurt. And I was just very grateful that it wasn't as serious as it was for the compact that he made on the concrete of the bottom of the wall for us.
Yeah, he might not have any fear. I feared for him. That was an incredible play, and to see him smack into the wall like that. Good to see that even though he has the injury, he is largely okay, because it felt like watching it live. It could have been far worse. He's injured. Ali Banks is hurt. Trey Swiderski's nursing a little bit of an injury. You've got some health issues in the outfield now. But it's cliche, next man up, right? That's sort of the mentality you have to play with. And this weekend, the way that Quincy Malbrough, the next guy up in the outfield, played, makes you feel good that even with those injuries, you can plug another guy out there who's going to have success. He was fantastic.
He was, Kyle. I don't think a lot of people really know behind the scenes of how Quincy has been, and you tell players all the time, work hard, control what you can control, show up every day with a great attitude and great effort, and the game will reward you. And that's hard, sitting over there for the first, 20-something games as a role player, waiting his opportunity. But I tell you what, I never once looked at him and said, man, he's really upset today, or he's really selfish today. That's the thing I want to challenge people with, people watching. This guy has been a tremendous teammate. He's the first one in and out of the dugout. He's ready for whatever role, whether it's been a bunt, whether it's been a position, going on defense, base running. And then, he goes in this weekend with all the guys that got hurt and just was phenomenal. Yeah. Just the bats that he had, he was so confident. As I watched the game afterwards, he was the most relaxed guy in the box, and just says a lot for him and his mentality. And I can't say enough about what he's given to this program. And it's not always about the guy starting. And it's really, really important, and it's really big for this team to continue to go that way.
Yeah, you absolutely love stories like that. 4 doubles of his 5 hits over the weekend, 3 of them in the same game. When really you were, I'll speak for myself, hoping, hey, let's play a good defense, maybe get some guys moving on the bases a little bit, but to have that kind of production offensively was just a huge bonus. You have 3 games now, 3 victories in which you have fallen behind by 5 runs.
Or more.
Baylor, Michigan State, and now Illinois. The game on Sunday doesn't start out very well. You give up the 5 spot in the first inning. It was in the first inning, though, so you got a long ways to go.
Right.
What is it about this team that allows it to have some bad innings, fall behind, yet still have the, I guess, patience to know that it can get back in the game?
Well, I just think it does with their character. We've challenged those guys since they've been here. We took them through toughness testing in November. There's nothing they hadn't been through to really realize that, we can overcome whatever comes our way.
Yeah.
I think Coach Serrato has been a great job this year, just with our hitters and just keeping them in the right mindset. A lot of times you see teams start giving away at bats whenever they get down. I think our bats get better. I think these guys know that the power of just one at bat at a time, one quality at bat at a time can lead to something great. And so they just keep their poise. They don't get too sped up. They don't get too upset. And I got them in the dugout on Sunday, after we got down by 5. And I said, hey, we've been here, done this. This is nothing to us. Just keep doing what we do. Continue to have quality at bats and stick together as one, and you'll pull this thing out in the 8th or 9th. And fortunate we were able to do that.
And whereas a week ago you did it with the long ball, you really didn't this weekend.
Yeah, no.
You did it by doubles, singles, moving guys over, some safety squeeze plays.
Yeah.
So it was a little bit of a different look for you offensively.
It was, and that's why I like this team. And we can score in different ways. We just don't have to have the long ball. We got some guys that can run. I've been really pleased with our short game and how we've been able to do that and controlling the defense. So, and that's the reason why we're scoring. We can score in multiple ways. And when you can do that, you got a chance to put up some crooked numbers.
Yeah.
And the man that got the ball after Thomas Howard on Sunday, Jarvis Evans, first time we'd seen him in relief, and he goes out there and retires 9 in a row when the game was still pretty much hanging in the balance a little bit. It was Purdue had gone up 8-5 at that point.
Right.
Illinois didn't really have any momentum, and Jarvis made sure it stayed that way.
He did.
And for his first relief appearance, that was what you were looking for, especially coming off kind of a couple rough outings at Alexander, didn't pitch great at Indiana State.
Right.
Didn't know what to expect necessarily, at least my point of view.
There's no doubt, Ben, and I talked with Jarvis, after he was done and just told him how proud I was of him to be able to go. We don't win the game if it wasn't for his 9 outs. for him to, I mean, he was just so composed. He just pitched. He didn't get too caught up in the moment. Him and Coach Newman were locked in on those hitters, and they were able to get those outs. And just seeing him again go back out there after a couple of tough outings to take the role of a reliever, and that's hard to accept and to do, but never had an issue, never had any attitude with him. He said, Coach, whatever I need to do to help this team win. And that's the great part. And I told our players this, I tell them all the time how grateful I am that I have a team that allows us to coach them and doesn't get caught up in who gets the credit, And as long as we can continue to do that, I think some good things can happen.
Northwestern up next, we play them pretty much every year now with the way the schedule works out. They won 2 out of 3 against Michigan State after losing on Friday. And no matter their record, man, they always play us tough.
They always do, Ben. They do a great job, and Ben does an awesome job up there. He's got the culture where he wants it to be. They are hard-nosed. They've had a really hard schedule early with the conference, and probably the toughest of anybody in the league. And so don't let the record fool you. They are really, really good. I've been watching them ever since they started out, with Rice the first weekend. It's because we were having some, playing Rice. So they're really good. We'll have to play our very, very best to have a chance to go up there and win a series this weekend.
Halfway point of the Big Ten as well, 9-6 in conference play. There are some challenges coming up, including this weekend against the Wildcats. You've got some difficult road trips as well in the second half. Do you sort of not reset? That's not the right word, but sort of take a breath and be like, okay, now we've gotten through that first half, and now we'll try to prepare for this second half of the Big Ten?
Well, there's no time to breathe right now. It's going. I think we're in a pretty good schedule.
Yeah.
Playing on the weekend and then having some really short workouts on Monday, playing on Tuesday, and then taking Wednesday off, and then traveling on Thursday. So I think we're in a pretty good routine. I've got great staff around me, Kyle. I mean, Coach Webb in the weight room, and Kayla with our training, and Coach Newman, Coach Rado, and Coach Brenham. And I just got some really good people around me that have did a great job with this team, and I'm just along for the ride.
It's a good ride.
It's a good ride so far.
Thus far, but certainly a lot of truth in there as well with the job the group has done. Thank you. Looking forward to that trip up to Evanston.
All right, thank you.
Let's take a break. We'll come back. Thomas Howard will join us next on This Week in Purdue Baseball.
Play championship golf at the Burke Boilermaker Golf Complex. Enjoy great food and great drinks at the new Pete Dye Clubhouse, and shop official Purdue gear at the Purdue Pro Shop. Experience it all now at PurdueGolf.com.
Thomas Howard joins us on This Week in Purdue Baseball, Boilermaker reliever who pitched, more than 100 pitches over the weekend in 2 of the victories against the Fighting Illini. A couple of different scenarios that you get yourself out there, once late in the game, once early in the contest. You've done a little bit of everything. The one thing that I feel like, though, that you bring every time you get on the mound is sort of a closer's mentality, even though you haven't been closing games. Is that the way you're trying to approach it?
Yeah, I think just always just keeping that mentality, even if, I'm throwing 3 to 4 innings, just really it's inning by inning. It's not really like, I'm going to go like 5 innings. It's just I'm going to keep dominating each inning and just keep attacking hitters and, just try to make them beat me.
You've had a number of weekends this year in which you've pitched in 2 games over the weekend. And as I said, you did it this time, throwing a lot of pitches. You feel pretty fresh that second time out? Does it take you a minute to get into a rhythm, or do you feel pretty good?
Yeah, it takes a little bit. It takes a little bit of adrenaline and maybe a couple of slaps to the back from Zach Fasher, but it definitely takes a little bit. But that adrenaline starts rushing. I don't start feeling anything maybe till after the game, but I feel pretty fresh while I'm out there, even on the second day after I just threw on Friday. So just trying to keep my body, get in with Kayla in the treatment room and just trying to keep my arm healthy, and that's the main thing.
You were the conference pitcher of the year in your lone junior college season at John A. Logan College in Southern Illinois. I assume you've always been a starting pitcher. What's it been like this year to have to transition to that, where, again, you're doing it twice in a weekend?
It definitely was a hard transition at first. I've never, ever been a relief pitcher in my life. So it took a lot of bit of wisdom from Coach Newman, getting with him and talking about some things. Just trying to get the understanding and the mental side of that part, but still pitching at the end of the day, and just trying to go out there and just do my thing and help my team win. That's the main thing.
You had the honor of being the first man out of the bullpen this season in the season opener. And, it's kind of a foreshadowing of things to come with the first of 5 times this year so far where you've had the 2 appearances in one weekend. So right out of the gate, it was like, okay, well, this is how we're likely going to see him used this year. And so that part of that was buy-in that Newman, we've seen him do this in years past where he had a guy that he liked to go to on every Friday, and there was some success to that. But getting you to buy in is half the battle on that front. So he got you maybe ready for that back in the fall?
Yeah, of course, there was talks of maybe starting and stuff, but, he got with me and just told me, either way, if you don't start or if you come out the relief, you're going to throw a lot of innings. So just getting myself prepared for that, in the winter and going to work and, over the preseason, in January and February before we started up, just trying to get my mental side of that part, just getting ready for those challenges.
I assume you were in the bullpen by the time Brandon Rogers made his catch in center field. What was the perspective and the reaction by the guys in the bullpen to seeing him lay out and give up his body like that?
Well, first I thought he died. It looked like,
You probably weren't the only one because it was quite a collision.
Yeah, it was crazy seeing it from that perspective. It felt like we were right there and saw his head go right into that. I thought his head right into that concrete wall and scared me a little bit, but it was insane. It's probably the best catch I've ever seen, and B-Rod is just one of the best defenders I've ever seen play the game of baseball, just in person. So, it's awesome to have him out there in center field and pitching, and I know the other guys feel the same way.
Yeah, I think at any level of baseball, probably one of the best I've ever seen, and certainly one of the more fearless guys out there. As a pitcher, what sort of comfort does it give you, A, to have a guy who can track ground like that, but B, have somebody out there, and I'm sure his teammates are like this in a lot of ways too, but who is going to go all out and try to preserve a no-hitter and try to preserve a scoreless game and a big hit and all of those things is going to really give it up to do that.
Yeah, just having him out there just gives me confidence that, even if I give up a hard hit ball, in the center field, left center, right center gap, I know that he's going to try and get that. Even if he doesn't, he's going to go full out right at it. So it gives me a lot of confidence in, my defense because, he's the main part of that deal. So, it helps a lot just on the mental side and just making the right pitches and just trying to get outs.
Yeah.
The bullpen is such a unique part of the team, and I like to think of it as kind of one collective unit sometimes. I know I'm not alone on that front. And it feels like there's a lot of different personalities out there every year, and this year is no exception.
Yeah.
We've seen the intensity that Jake Kramer shows when he closes out a game, and he really seems like 2 different animals out there. The one that we see on the bus and the one that we see on the mound. You got Trevor Crester Johnson, your lefty from California, who probably marches to his own beat in many ways. We've heard some of Jacob Boland's unique points of view on the world. And, and you got veterans like Gavin Buter, Nick Colsey. Those guys are important. And then freshmen, Tro and Noah and others.
Yeah.
So kind of maybe it's like an office out there, right? Different coworkers and a lot of different points of view. What would you add to that as far as what you've experienced?
It's great. The bullpen and all the pitchers, we have a great relationship with each other. We like to mess with each other all the time. And, of course, Jacob Boland, a little crazy in the head a little bit. But, we've got a lot of personalities on the team. They're all great guys. And, we all have the same goal in mind, and we get along well, and it's great to have a lot of personalities out there.
And you had a new addition out there this weekend with Jarvis Evans. You handed the ball off to him this time, and he gave the team 9 big outs in his first relief appearance. So welcome to the bullpen, at least for one day. Jarvis Evans, and cool to see him step up to follow you in a rubber game that you guys needed to win.
Yeah, of course. Jarvis, I know he's been having a couple rough outings here or there, but I know he works hard, and I know he wants the ball at all times, and it was great to see him out there. Of course, after me, just getting those big zeros up on the board and help us win the game. And it was huge for him, and it was awesome to see him out there.
Seems like each one of those guys, too, that you've mentioned has had his moment, right? Boland had really pitched very well here over the last several weeks. TKJ has come through in some big spots for you. Obviously, Kramer's pitched well during the Big Ten, but it just seems like each one of those has had his moment to shine this season, which has been nice.
Oh yeah, of course. Bolin, those past few outings with Penn State and Michigan State, those were, massive. Even though we lost that game on Sunday to Penn State, he still gave us a chance to, put some runs up on the board and, maybe he pulled that one out. And, with Jarvis and Trevor, Trevor's just, he's a dog. He don't care if it's bases loaded or no outs, whatever. He's going to get that ball and he's going to get the job done, even just at any point in time. And he doesn't care who's up there. And, it's great to see.
Jackson Bissett has sort of been an Iron Man for you guys behind the plate recently. It seems like he handles the staff well. He certainly has a big right arm that I think has contributed to keeping guys at first base rather than scampering down there into scoring position. What has that been like to be able to throw to him and have him manage the game?
Oh, it's awesome. It's not just even his arm. He's a brick wall behind there too. Mm-hmm. Like if I need to make an 0-2 pitch in the dirt, like I know he's going to go get it and block it. And of course, like he receives the ball well as well. And he's a tough son of a gun back there. He takes foul balls off the head. He takes foul balls off wherever. He's still back in there and he's ready to go. And it's great to have a catcher like that that doesn't care what comes his way. He's going right at it.
Yeah.
We've got to mention a lot of your teammates over the last 10 minutes in this conversation, but maybe who else deserves a shout-out that we haven't given any credit to or love yet on This Week in Purdue Baseball?
I'll give some love to Quincy. He's a great teammate. He always waits his turn, and he got his opportunity and he took great advantage of that. And of course, Gavin Buter as well. I'll give Gavin Buter a big shout out. He works hard, and he's one of our hardest workers on the team. And he's starting to get his opportunities a little bit, and he's taking advantage of it. Yeah. And he's making big pitches and getting big zeros and big outs. So it's great to see those two guys, out there and doing well.
Yeah, definitely was Buter's best week of the year with what he did at Indiana State, and then Saturday against Illinois to at least give you an opportunity to maybe rally in those games, even though you didn't end up winning them. Curious, tough matchup among the lineup in the fall or preseason scrimmages. Who did you not like facing?
Sam Flores. I think Sam had my number the entire fall. I think he hit 3 homers off me in the fall. So Sam was a big one. Trey, I've faced Trey for 3 years.
Sure, we heard about.
Yeah,
he had a good scout on you. When we had him on the show
he was a great scout on me. We were at Louisville and John A together, and now we're here. So Trey always had my number too.
All right, so we'd like to learn more about you in the personal preferences segment, Thomas. There are no wrong answers, as I like to say, but we do have you pick a number, 3 numbers, in fact. We're between 1 and 21 this week.
Let's go 6.
6. Favorite pro or college field you've played at besides Alexander Field, of course?
Oh man, that's tough. I'll say the field down in there in Round Rock. That field was amazing.
Dell Diamond.
Yeah, it was amazing. It's just great. The place was pristine and just great atmosphere too. It was awesome.
Yeah, I think everybody involved with Purdue baseball was very impressed with the Round Rock Classic weekend number 2, and the Boilermakers rose to the occasion too that weekend.
Oh, for sure.
All right, between 1 and 21, don't pick 6.
Go 12.
12. Favorite superhero or sci-fi TV or film series?
Let's go favorite superhero.
Fair enough.
We'll go Spider-Man.
Always a good choice.
Yeah, this has always been my favorite superhero growing up.
Do you have a favorite superhero, Spider-Man in live-action film? There's obviously the 3 of them were all in the same.
I'm gonna go Andrew Garfield.
Okay,
that's my favorite one.
Not often selected.
Oh yeah.
All right, last one between 1 and 21. Don't pick 6. Don't pick 12.
Let's go 19.
19. Most memorable moment, game, or sports memory so far here at Purdue this school year. So whether it was a baseball one or in the fall or a football game or a basketball game, what sticks out?
I'm gonna go with our walk off to Baylor at Dell Diamond. That was just awesome, coming back down 5 runs and just Weston getting that big hit up the middle and walking it off and just being in that moment. It was awesome. It was a great time.
Sort of set the tone for the whole season, too, in terms of comeback victories, which you guys have done a few times, especially being down by 5 or more runs, which has happened, and including this last weekend against Illinois on Sunday. You guys have hit the halfway point of the Big Ten, some big challenges coming up in the second half, clearly, including this weekend at Northwestern. What do you have to do to keep it rolling?
Just keep playing our ball, just keep playing hard. Just always staying tough. Of course, it's not always going to go our way, but it doesn't mean that it can't at the end of the game. So, even if we go down 5 runs, we just keep that thing rolling and throwing up big zeros and just scratching a couple runs here or there. I mean, that's just the name of the game for us. I mean, we're not a big power hitting team here or there. We don't hit a crazy amount of home runs, but we get big hits when it needed. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Certainly, it's been fun to watch, as have you during your appearances out of the pen, and looking forward to the second half of the league season. All right, that'll do it for us on This Week in Purdue Baseball. A podcast drop every week as we get you through the rest of the Big Ten season. For Ben Turner, Thomas Howard, and Coach Greg Goff, I'm Kyle Charters. Thanks for watching This Week in Purdue Baseball.